Let's talk about something everyone wears, but almost nobody talks about. Underwear is one of those everyday essentials that quietly does its job. It's hidden, practical, sometimes fashionable, sometimes embarrassing, and yet it has a surprisingly dramatic history. From ancient loincloths to modern boxer briefs, what we wear underneath says a lot about technology, culture, hygiene, and even politics. Today, we're uncovering the story of underwear, where it began, how it evolved, and why it looks the way it does now. Right here, on History of Simple Things. Underwear, in its simplest form, goes back thousands of years. In ancient civilizations, people didn't have elastic waistbands or cotton blends. Instead, they wore basic cloth wraps for modesty and protection. In ancient Egypt, men commonly wore a linen garment called a shendit, which functioned much like a loincloth. Meanwhile, in ancient Rome, both men and women wore undergarments. Women sometimes wore a breastband called the strophium, and men wore a loincloth known as a subligaculum under their tunics. These early garments weren't about fashion, they were about practicality, protecting outer clothing from sweat and oils, especially since washing garments frequently wasn't easy. Fabrics were expensive, and people owned far fewer clothes than we do today. Wearing something underneath extended the life of outer garments. Underwear started as protection first, modesty second. During the Middle Ages in Europe, underwear became more structured. Men wore loose linen underpants called braies. These were usually knee-length and tied at the waist with a drawstring. They were worn under tunics or hose. Linen was preferred because it was breathable and washable, which mattered in a time when bathing wasn't frequent. Women's undergarments are more debated among historians. For a long time, it was believed that women did not regularly wear underpants during the medieval period. However, archaeological finds, like linen undergarments discovered in an Austrian castle in 2012, suggest that some women did wear early forms of bras and underwear in the 15th century. Layering was key during this era. Undergarments absorbed sweat and could be washed more easily than heavy wool gowns or doublets. As fashion became more elaborate, so did underwear. During the Renaissance, women began wearing structured undergarments to shape the body. The corset, or stays, became a major feature of women's clothing. It wasn't technically underwear in the modern sense, but it was worn underneath dresses to create a fashionable silhouette. Men continued wearing variations of braies, which gradually became shorter. By the 16th century, men's hose split into two separate legs, leading to a closer resemblance to modern underpants. By the 18th century, drawers, loose underpants tied at the waist, became more common for women in Western Europe. They were often open at the crotch, which may sound strange today, but it allowed easier bathroom use under heavy layered skirts. Underwear wasn't about comfort yet, it was about structure and practicality. The 1800s brought major changes. Industrialization made fabric cheaper and clothing more accessible. Cotton became widely used, replacing linen in many cases. This allowed for mass production of undergarments. One of the most iconic inventions of this era was the Union suit, one-piece long underwear that covered the body from wrists to ankles. It became popular in the United States during the late 19th century. Originally marketed as a health garment, it was meant to keep the body warm and protected. For women, undergarments grew increasingly complex. Layered petticoats, bloomers, corsets, chemises, all worn at once. Victorian standards of modesty influenced design heavily. Showing too much ankle was scandalous, so underwear remained hidden but essential. Interestingly, elastic as we know it didn't exist yet. Waistbands relied on buttons, laces, and drawstrings. Comfort was improving, but it still wasn't the priority. The early 1900s changed everything. In 1913, Mary Phelps Jacob patented an early version of the modern bra. She created it using handkerchiefs and ribbon, rejecting the uncomfortable corsets of the time. Her invention paved the way for bras replacing corsets in everyday wear. For men, a major breakthrough happened in 1934 when Cooper's Incorporated, later known as Jockey, introduced the first modern briefs. Inspired by a postcard from the French Riviera, the design eliminated leg fabric and provided support. It sold out almost immediately. Boxer shorts appeared around the same time, inspired by boxing trunks. They were looser and more breathable compared to briefs. This sparked a style debate that continues today: boxers or briefs? Elastic waistbands also became common in the early 20th century, drastically improving comfort and fit. Underwear was no longer just functional, it was becoming personal. After World War II, underwear took on a new cultural meaning. Advances in synthetic fabrics like nylon and later spandex made underwear stretchier and more form-fitting. Marketing also shifted. Underwear advertisements began highlighting body image, confidence, and attractiveness. In the 1980s and 1990s, brands turned underwear into a fashion statement. Waistbands were designed to be visible. Logos became bold. Campaigns featuring models like Mark Wahlberg and Calvin Klein ads helped turn men's underwear into a pop culture symbol. Women's lingerie also evolved into an industry blending fashion, empowerment, and luxury. What was once purely hidden became something people intentionally showcased. Underwear became part of identity. Today, underwear is more diverse than ever. We have moisture-wicking fabrics, seamless designs, temperature-regulating textiles, and eco-friendly materials like bamboo and recycled fibers. Performance underwear exists for athletes. Shapewear blends comfort and structure. Wireless bras have become mainstream. There's also a shift toward body inclusivity. Brands now offer wider size ranges and gender-neutral designs. The idea that underwear should fit the person, not the other way around, is finally becoming standard. And comfort? It's now a top priority. What started as a simple linen wrap thousands of years ago has become a high-tech, multi-billion-dollar industry. Underwear might seem ordinary, but it reflects everything from ancient craftsmanship to industrial revolutions, social norms, gender roles, and modern identity. It protected outer garments in ancient Rome. It shaped silhouettes in the Renaissance. It kept people warm in the 19th century. It became a fashion statement in the 20th. And today, it's about comfort, confidence, and choice. So the next time you put on your underwear, just remember, you're participating in a story that's thousands of years old. And honestly, that's kind of impressive for something nobody sees. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.